Okay, so let's dive into this because we've got a really fascinating report from a predictive system. It's basically trying to forecast specific events, and right now it is caught in this super high stakes waiting game. We're going to sift through the data here and try to figure out an anomaly that has put the whole system on its highest possible alert.
Right, so here's the central mystery, the thing that's driving this entire investigation. It's a real puzzle, you know? It just goes against all the expected patterns. One single target has basically vanished off the board, and now the system is just scrambling to figure out why and, maybe more importantly, when it's coming back. 36. 36 days. That's the number at the absolute heart of this whole case file today. It's a totally unprecedented silence from a top priority target. And look, in a system that is built on patterns and rhythms, 36 days of absolute nothing? Well, that is the loudest signal you could possibly get. It's practically screaming that something's up.
So this silent target, it's known in the system as cycle 19, or just C19 for short. And after 36 days of radio silence, the pressure on it, and I mean both statistically and inside the system's own logic, has just reached a absolutely critical level. I mean, C19 status is just off the charts. This is not just any old cycle. It has the longest active gap by far. It's been escalated to the highest threat tier they have, T5 extreme. And as you can see, it still has 8 different targets, they call them missing bases, that it needs to hit. It is, without a doubt, the system's #1 most wanted. Okay, so to really get why this matters so much, we kind of need to learn the system's own language. It has a very specific vocabulary for all these events, and we're about to decode it right now. All right, first up is the gap. The best way to think of it is like a pressure cooker. The longer a cycle goes without making an appearance, the more pressure builds up inside the system. A really long gap is seen as this huge buildup of potential energy that you know it has to be released eventually. And then we've got missing bases. These are kind of like items on a scavenger hunt list for each cycle. Hitting one is a major, major breakthrough. It resolves all that built-up pressure, and it proves the cycle is still active. And remember, our guy, C19, still has 8 of these things left to find. So, it's supposed to be a pretty simple process, right? Silence leads to a bigger gap. That makes the priority tier go up, and all of that pressure is supposed to force a breakthrough. Simple. But for C19, our #1 target, well, something else happened entirely. So that brings us to March 22nd. The system was on super high alert. I mean, everybody was convinced this is the day. This has to be the day C19 finally breaks its silence. But the day just delivered one major surprise after another instead. So instead of our main target, C19, 3 other cycles just unexpectedly popped up. At 2 p.m., C21 appeared, which resolved an 11-day gap. Then, at 5 p.m., C9 showed up, resolving its little 3-day gap. And then finally, at 9 p.m., C8 appeared, taking care of a 6-day gap. Each one came in, resolved its own pressure, but C19, still silent. And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The final prediction for the night, prediction #006, was laser-focused on C19 and its other high-pressure buddies. But the actual result? An outsider, cycle 8, showed up instead. A complete and total miss for the forecast. So yeah, officially, the system's main forecast failed. It was logged as a miss. But, and this is the really cool part, that failure, it actually blew the whole case wide open. This is where the whole investigation just takes this fascinating turn. Because see, the system is designed to learn from its own mistakes. And by analyzing this failure, it stumbled onto a hidden pattern. The system actually left itself this little honest note, and it admitted there's this recurring theme. It was correctly identifying the group of cycles that were under pressure, but it kept getting the specific one wrong. So it knew the storm was brewing, it just couldn't predict where the lightning was going to strike first. And this amazing insight led to something brand new, the A12 rotation theory. And this is just a fascinating idea. It suggests that other cycles who are also under pressure, but maybe less so than C19, are basically taking turns. They're delivering their hits, clearing the queue, and making way for the main event. And the events of March 22nd, that was the 3rd solid piece of evidence. I mean, with 3 independent cases now on the books, where some other cycle delivered instead of C19, this theory was officially promoted from just a hypothesis to a formal candidate. And that changes everything for tomorrow's forecast. So where does all this leave us for tomorrow? Well, now we've got two completely separate, high-stakes dramas unfolding at the exact same time, and both of them came directly out of today's results. Okay, first off, in what the report itself calls an unprecedented event, we have three different cycles, C4, C12, and yes, the very same C8 from today. They are all now just one single hit away from total completion. We are looking at a three-way photo finish in the making. It's just nuts. So this sets up an absolutely compelling showdown. On one hand, you have the main event, the agonizing, now 37-day wait for C19. And on the other, you have this wild, unprecedented three-way horse race to the finish line. The huge question is, does this new rotation theory still apply, or is C19 finally ready to break its silence? And that leaves us with our final, pretty provocative question. Is the system finally about to crack the code of the silent cycle, or are we about to witness a historic photo finish in a race that, honestly, nobody even saw coming? Tomorrow's data just became a must-watch event.